most used stitch in leather lacing is the double loop stitch. Did you know there's another one known as the triple loop stitch? So you ask, when would you have occasion to use the triple loop stitch? The answer is when you have a thicker edge to lace, such as a holster or a handbag. The triple loop will cover that edge much better. To do the triple loop stitch, it takes about 9 times the distance to be laced. So now we'll start by going through one hole and folding the end over as you see me here. Then we will go through the next hole and pull this up snug, not real tight. Now, as you'll see, I have a cross. Now I will take my needle through that cross. Now I will continue lacing and come through the next hole. Now after I go through this hole is where we start the triple loop lace. I will go through one in the front, but I'll pick up 2 in the back. This is where we get the word triple. Let's do a few more stitches. Now we come to the next hole. And we go through 1 in the front and 2 in the back. For the first couple of stitches, you may have to do a little fishing until you get started. There we go. You'll notice the angle of the back stitch is pretty radical. Let me do one more here and you'll see what I'm talking about. In order to pick up that back stitch, instead of going straight through like you would with the double, you need to come back like this and pick up that third stitch, the third lace I should say. Notice the angle of the needle now. And we will continue the same way. 1 in front, 2 in the back. As I'm approaching the corner, I will first of all take my fid and enlarge this corner hole and also the next hole after that. Now we will continue lacing. Of course, I'm going to go through the corner hole, pull it up snug, not real tight. Now I go back, picking up 3. There we go. Now we will again pull snug, not real tight, but snug. Now we will go through that same hole again. And we will go back through 3 one in the front, two in the back. And pull snug. Now the next one we'll do, we will go down to this next hole. Pull snug. Once again, we're going to go back 3. We never break the rule. We always go back 3. Now we go through that same hole the second time. And, you guessed it, we go back 3. Maybe a little difficult here because they're fairly close together. There we go. And pull snug and go down to the next hole. Here again, we go back, one in the front, two in the back. Now we go through the next hole. And we continue. We have reached the point where it's time to do a dry splice, so we will show you how to do that. I will start by, I've already done this, I've opened up the layers of my project here so that I can get down in there, and I will take a new length of lace, and I'll come down here about 2 holes, and I'll start it from the inside out. Now I will take my pliers or something and stuff this end down in as you see me doing here. And then I can lace right over top of it. Now, I will continue lacing. And I will, of course, go back, pick up one in the front, two in the back. Now I will come to the next hole, and I will go into the center with it. Now I can cut this off and push it down between the layers of leather. Now I will continue lacing, making sure I pick up 3. And we will continue lacing right over the top of the, I want to get this piece down below. There we go. Now we've got both ends secured, and we can just continue lacing, making sure we get that third lace. There we go. And now we'll just continue all the way around our project. My favorite way to do a splice is to do what I call a wet splice, or in many places it's called a cement splice. What we're going to do, we're going to take our leather lace, we're going to take our very sharp hobby knife or stencil knife, and we're going to very carefully the end of the lace. Now, as we get down to this first front end, we want to take it down to a feather edge. Now we'll do the same thing to the other piece on the back side. The first one we did on the front side. Now this one we will do on the back side. On the other end, we'll take the same distance, usually about an inch or 3/4 of an inch, and we'll skive very carefully the top side. We take the bottom side off of one and the top side off of the other and take it down to a feather edge. And now we're ready to cement the two together. I prefer to use a contact cement, and so we'll just spread some contact cement on each piece. Of course, one on the bottom, one on the top. We'll set them aside for a few moments until they dry, until they're tacky. I have allowed the two pieces to dry until they're tacky, and now it's just a matter of sticking them together. And to make sure we get a very good bond, I will tap it lightly with a mallet. And I would wait a few minutes, but we're all ready to use our lace now. Now I go through this next to last open hole, and I go now up through the loop, and I go back through the 3 strands, now I'm going to go down through the loop, and I will then go in that last hole and come up between the layers of lace, and finally we'll go up through between the layers of leather and up through the lace in the back, and then we can trim this off, and our lacing is finished. As with any other lace, it's a good idea to tap it down so that it lays nice and smooth. And now we have a real nice example of the lacing that's a real good idea to use when you're doing a thick edge. Well, this is George Hurst again. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today doing the triple loop stitch, and I hope you find this very helpful in your future leatherwork projects.